For decades, the Amy Bradley case existed in fragments. A cruise ship, a missing passenger, a railing, a sea that never gave answers. But buried inside federal archives was a file marked inactive, restricted, not closed, not solved, just untouched. When modern forensic analysts reopened that file, they noticed something strange. A DNA sample submitted years earlier had never been fully processed. Why? Because at the time, it didn't match anyone in the system. But databases change. Technology improves. And when that sample was rerun through modern algorithms, it triggered an alert. Not a confirmation, not a denial. A partial match, consistent with long-term survival and controlled relocation. Investigators froze. Because this DNA didn't suggest death. It suggested movement. And movement means handlers. The sample was traced back to a woman who had come forward quietly years earlier. Someone who claimed she escaped from a place she wasn't supposed to survive. She never asked for money, never went public, never contacted media. She only spoke to investigators. And then, she disappeared. No departure records. No asylum requests. No hospital intake. As if someone erased her. And that's when investigators began asking the question no one wanted to ask. What if Amy Bradley didn't fall? What if she was taken somewhere designed to erase people? To understand how someone could vanish without trace, investigators turned to maritime data from the late 1990s. Back then, the Caribbean wasn't fully mapped the way it is today. There were blind zones, dead corridors, areas where satellite coverage failed for minutes, sometimes hours. And criminals knew it. A former maritime officer, now retired, finally broke his silence. He said there were waters everyone avoided, not because they were dangerous, but because they were controlled. He described unregistered routes used by private vessels, routes that slipped between jurisdictions, where Coast Guard authority blurred and naval oversight vanished. And then he said something that changed everything. He described an island, not on public charts, not part of tourism routes, not governed the way land is supposed to be governed. An island leased privately, operated quietly, protected by money and silence. He recalled seeing a woman there. Short hair, oversized clothing, guarded, silent. And when investigators showed him an age-progressed image of Amy Bradley, his hand shook because he had seen that face before, not on television, on the shoreline. He said boats arrived only at night. No logs, no records, no questions. And when he once tried to report what he saw, his assignment was changed. His files were sealed, and he was warned, indirectly, to forget. This wasn't a rumor. It was a system designed to move people through shadows. Investigators began mapping something terrifying. Multiple missing women, multiple sightings, multiple islands, all connected by the same invisible routes. These islands weren't prisons in the traditional sense. They were holding zones, places where identities were stripped away, where names disappeared, where survivors learned silence was survival. The DNA evidence suggested long-term containment, not chaos, not panic, control. And then came the most disturbing revelation. Internal documents referenced a woman labeled only as nonverbal American female. No name, no age, no origin, just a warning attached to her file. High risk if exposed. If Amy Bradley survived, her existence would have forced international attention. So she had to remain hidden. And now, decades later, DNA threatens to pull her back into the light, which explains the disappearance, the sealed files, the silence. Because this case was never just about one woman overboard. It was about a system that never expected technology to catch up. Tonight, the question isn't what happened to Amy Bradley. The question is, who made sure she was never found? And how many others are still out there, waiting for their names to be spoken again?